Hello learners, welcome to this lecture. I am Ankita Bhattacharya, Assistant Professor at Center for Open and Distance Learning, Tezpur University. Today in this lecture, I am going to talk on social stratification and deviance. This lecture is prepared primarily for the learners of MA in Sociology program and the CUDL Tezpur University. However, it will also benefit anyone who is interested in learning the topic. Of course, I have kept the content easy and simple so that it is easily comprehensible to anyone interested in learning the topic. So what is deviance? In simple words, deviance is the state of diverging from accepted standards. Now this concept of or this term has been explained by different disciplines like psychology, criminology, neurobiology, and of course sociology. In sociology, deviance is a behavior that goes against or deviates from the social norms of a given society. Now, what do you mean by social norms? Social norms are basically the rules or expectations that are socially enforced in a particular society. Now, while some norms are enforced by legal sanctions, some are not. For example, the norm not to murder, if that is violated, one has to face legal consequences like imprisonment or even death penalty, right? But if we take another example, like the norm of not entering a temple wearing footwear on, or putting your footwear on, right? So if I violate that norm and if I enter a temple with my footwear on, then I will not be put behind bars for that. I will not have to face legal consequences, right? But at the same time, I will have to face some sort of informal sanctions that will be put on me. Like I would be asked to leave the temple premises immediately. I would even be ostracized by my community, right? I may have to face certain other informal sanctions, but not legal sanctions. Also, we must note here that social norms differ from society to society or from culture to culture, and therefore a behavior or an act may be considered deviant in one society but may be normal for another society. Right. Now, in this context, let us take the example of public display of affection, like hugging and kissing in the public. Now, kissing in the public or hugging someone is somewhat common, suppose in the US, right? But in the context of India, that is not very normal, and sometimes it may even invite legal consequences. One may have to face legal consequences for kissing in the public, for example. So we can see that social norms, as social norms vary from culture to culture, so does deviance. Okay. Now another thing that comes that we can say here is that deviance is relative. As we can why is it relative? Because it depends on the circumstances and also the circumstances, time and place. It depends on that, right? So that is why we can say that deviance is relative. Okay, and it need not always carry a negative meaning in sociology. Now we cannot say that deviance is something bad, and it need not necessarily be always carrying a negative meaning. Suppose we can say that crime is also a deviance, right? Being a criminal is also being a deviant. We know that is something which is not right, which disrupts the social order. We know that has got some negative connotation, right? But now deviance can also mean something that is not negative. Suppose we take the example of a conventional North Indian Brahmin family. Okay, so the family rules, according to that, they are expected to be vegetarian. Suppose we are taking as an example. So in that case, if someone from that community or from that caste decides to eat meat, that is also a deviant behavior, because it is violating the norm, the social norm that they do not eat meat. So that has been violated. But we cannot say that is something negative. Okay, so it need not necessarily carry a negative meaning in sociology always. Okay. Now let us talk about deviance and social control. Now deviance is closely related to social control. Now we know that deviance creates different social problems, particularly in terms of maintaining order in society. As such, social control is used to promote conformity to norms among the members of a society. Now, there are different ways through which social control may be exercised. For instance, through socialization, an individual is taught to stick to the norms of a society. We know that, right? Now, however, the most prominent way in which social control is exercised is through the system of rewards and punishment. Okay, so we know that one who conforms to the social norms, okay, so they are being rewarded in some way or the other. They are given some sort of a reward, so for they are for conforming to the norms of social norms. And then those who go against it, those who violates the norms, are given punishments. Like we know that if we commit a crime, we have to face legal consequences, right? So that kind of punishments, like we are given imprisonment, that is also a kind of a punishment. So through rewards and punishments, social control is exercised over the members of a society. Now, coming to deviance and social stratification. So in the context of social stratification, we see that those who conform to the social norms are given higher status than those who do not. Deviance also therefore forms a basis on which people can be stratified. Now, deviant individuals or groups are being marginalized, and also it is very difficult. Social mobility is very difficult for the deviants. Like when one has been identified as a deviant, okay, so one has to face many consequences. Like the person may has to face legal sanctions, like I already said, and also other informal sanctions. Now, in terms of mobility, okay, I'm giving you an example. Suppose if someone has a criminal record, okay, even after suppose he was imprisoned, and even after he was set free, it will be difficult for him to find a job, for instance. And even if he starts earning through some other means, it will be difficult for him to move up the social ladder, because he has to carry that stigma or that label of being a deviant. So it becomes difficult for a deviant to move up and down the social usually up the social ladder. So social mobility is difficult for the deviants. To have a clear understanding of deviance in terms of social stratification, let us understand a few theories on deviance. Here I am going to cover functionalism, strain theory, conflict theory, differential association theory, and labeling theory. Now, among this, differential association and labeling theory, these two come under symbolic interactionism. According to symbolic interactionism, so according to this, reality is socially created through people's everyday interactions and symbolic communication with one another. So let us first understand functionalism as a theory on deviance. According to functionalism, deviance is functional and therefore necessary. Now, what functions does deviance perform? So according to Durkheim, deviance help people to define what is right and what is wrong. This defining of moral boundaries adds to social solidarity. Further, deviance can also lead to social change, as we know that deviance may create normlessness or anomie in society. However, in the process, it also helps in clarification of norms, and there is a social change after the period of normlessness. Such social change may make a deviant behavior normal too. Here let us take an example. Like in the context of India, now homosexuality is no longer considered criminal, right? But earlier it was considered criminal. So it was a criminal offense and it was punishable by law. But now that no longer exists. So social change can make a deviant behavior normal too. Now coming to strain theory, this theory is developed by Robert K. Merton. According to this theory, people become deviant when they are not able to achieve socially accepted goals. Uh, Goals through legitimate means, and therefore they experience strain. Now, for example, when an individual does not have enough money to buy things that may help him to be a part of a particular class, she or he may go for illegal means like stealing to achieve those things. Right. Now here, Merton has given a typology of deviant behavior. When an individual experiences strain, like we have said earlier, so when an individual experiences a strain, she or he may firstly adhere to the social norms. He has got five ways through which uh, 5 ways to adapt. Okay, so first one is that the person may adhere to the social norms despite the strain, which Merton has termed as conformity. So the person will ultimately accept both the social norms and the legitimate means of achieving those social goals, and will not try to make any changes, will just accept the way they are. So that Merton calls as conformity. Secondly, the individual may accept the goals, okay, socially accepted goals, but reject the accepted or the legitimate means of attaining those goals, and these Merton calls as innovation. For example, a drug peddler may accept the importance of money, but he uses illegal means of achieving it. Right. The third way is that the individual may reject the socially accepted goals but accept the legitimate means for achieving them. Okay, this Merton calls as ritualism. For instance, an individual may go to work every day but may not be interested in the goal of making lots of money. And the fourth way is that the individual may reject both the socially accepted goals and the legitimate, both the socially accepted goals and the legitimate means of achieving them. Here we can give the example of a person who is unemployed by choice and not because of circumstance. Lastly, Merton talks about a special case, that is rebellion, where the individual not only rejects both the socially accepted goals and the legitimate means of achieving that, but also tries to replace both with different goals and means. Here we can cite the example of a social movement. So here, thus we can see that Merton has talked about 4 ways, through which an individual can adapt to a situation of strain when he or she faces a strain. So first one we have got is conformity, second is innovation, third is ritualism, fourth is retreatism, and fifth is rebellion. Now coming to conflict theory. Conflict theory looks deviance in terms of social inequality and power. Now, this theory suggests that it is the most powerful members of a society who decide the social norms. So, as such, it is very obvious that they are the ones who will decide whether a behavior is deviant or not. Now, unlike functionalism, this theory does not consider deviance as functional and necessary. Rather, it advocates against it. Okay. Differential association theory was developed by Edwin Sutherland. According to this theory, deviance is a learned behavior which is a result of continuous exposure to others who violates social norms. Therefore, if some members of a social group exhibits deviant behavior, it is most likely that the other members of the group may also learn the same deviant behavior. Now let us take a very simple example here, just for your understanding. Okay, suppose a boy was first reading in a school where almost all of the children did not cheat in the examination. So he also did not cheat in the examination. He did not copy in the examination, right? So cheating was something that was considered bad. Then this boy was transferred to a new school, and there he saw that most of the students out there, they were copying in exams, copying from each other in the exam. So here he saw what? He saw that, by employing this dishonest means of copying from one another the answers, one could score more marks. So that would what motivate him to be like them, to follow them, to learn their techniques and be like them. So this is what theory, this differential association theory suggests. Like this behavior of being a deviant, okay, the criminal behavior or deviant behavior, that is learned. So according to this theory, certain social groups can be singled out to demonstrate a particular form of deviant behavior. Accordingly, these groups will be assigned a lower position in social hierarchy. Now, thus we have seen that, deviance is a learned behavior, and it is learned through interaction with others. And a person becomes deviant when more attitudes are learned that favor violation of the social norms. Now, regarding the example that I have given, okay, earlier the boy, he used to think that, violation of the norm or being cheating in the examination or copying from others is something that is bad. That is what he has learned, right? That is something dishonest and he shouldn't do that. But when he moves to the other school and he gets to know that copying will help him score more marks in the examination, copying from the from his fellow mates, if he copies from the others, he will be able to score more marks in the examination, right? When he gets to know, that means what? Benefit of violating the norm is more than adhering to it, right? When he gets to know that, he will start exhibiting deviant behavior. Okay, and the process involved in learning deviant behavior is similar to the process of learning any other behavior. So that is somewhat similar. Now let us come to labeling theory. This theory was developed and popularized by Howard S. Becker. According to this theory, deviant behavior is the one that is labeled by people as deviant. Okay, therefore it depends on how people react to it. This theory basically explores why people choose to label a particular behavior as deviant and what effect the label can have on the individual as well as for the society. Now these labels are contextual. Even here, we can think of the example, suppose we can think of the example of murder. Okay, so murder is considered a crime, but in the times of war, when a soldier kills an enemy, it is not regarded as a crime. So we see that the labels that are put are contextual. Okay, now we also need to understand that labeling theory is somewhat related to conflict theory in the sense that the labels of behavior which is deviant is decided by those in power, right? So according to this theory, deviance is not merely based on the characteristics of an individual or a group, but it is based on how a behavior is interpreted. We also need to understand here that once an individual is labeled deviant, it is difficult to remove it, and therefore it is more likely that the individual will internalize the deviant label and again engage in deviant behavior. For example, someone with a criminal record cannot find a job easily, right? And therefore what will happen? The chances of involving again in crimes become high. Okay, that's all I have in this lecture. Hope you loved it. Thank you.